Yeah, there we go.
Hey,
Hey, how are you, Nika?
good. How are you?
I'm great. Now that I get to crack a cold one open.
All right. Yeah, I put mine into a glass. Ooh, because I got kind of a bougie one, but it's Atomic Pumpkin. Have you ever had one of these before?
No, but that sounds delicious, especially now that it's fucking pumpkin season.
Yeah, right. That's when all of them come out. But this one has habaneros in it. And so it's pumpkin and spicy. It's the weirdest thing.
Is it delicious?
It is. The first time I had one was a couple of years ago, and I did Atomic for whatever reason didn't register. And so I drank it and I was like, oh, that's pretty good. But the aftertaste is what's spicy, like your mouth all of a sudden on fire.
Oh
And I
yeah.
was so confused. I was like, why in the world is my mouth on
What?
fire? Finally, I looked and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's this beer. It has habaneros in it. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
what's this pumpkin spicy? Yeah, it sounds interesting. I like spicy drinks. Like I like a spicy margarita and stuff like that. So it sounds good. I'm going with a good old fashioned white claw, also in a glass, because I
Nice.
got a rip.
Ooh, peach.
Oh yeah, cheers, dude.
Yeah, cheers. I like your thing in the back, the poster in the back, the
Oh yeah,
contortionist.
thank you. This is our we do like a podcast. This is our podcast room. So this is my side and we have some posters and stuff on the wall and we put like anytime fans make anything for us or any flyers of stuff that we've been on, we just put up on the wall. So it's cool to like have a room where we can do that. You know what I mean? Because before I don't know why, but I've always felt like kind of an asshole, I guess, putting like this huge ode to Naveen and I up on our walls. But it's like, okay, now we have a place to do it. So let's just
Oh,
throw it all up there. But it's really cool to have. It's like the first room in our house. So
that's so cool. And you guys should celebrate you two. Not only are you two incredibly talented, but now you're married.
yeah, it's crazy. I can't
But
believe it.
probably,
It's like it's really weird because we've been together for almost 14 years. So it already felt like we were married, I thought. But it's like when you get married, there's this whole added element that I just didn't really expect. With it, it feels like way more like, okay, now we got to work through this shit. Otherwise, I'm getting half of your stuff. You're going to have mine on top of everything else that we own together. We've put ourselves in a position where it's hard to get rid of each other. So,
yeah, now it's all legal.
yeah, it's all
Yeah,
legal. I know.
yeah,
With just the band and the podcast, we could have just split it, evenly without really any paperwork and stuff, but now it's in the law. The law's
yep,
gotta.
yep. All bets are off now. So you're gonna have to just keep working together and keep bringing us music. Gosh darn it.
I know. I know. God damn it.
I know. It's the worst for everybody involved.
I know. Yeah.
Speaking of
So
which, you do have an EP coming out next month.
yeah, I know. I'm really excited. It's weird because we stopped working on it a year ago. So we turned it in maybe last November. So it's weird that the way that we decided to roll it out because we've been doing like releasing it as singles all year. That was our plan. So it's taking like a really long time to put it out, and it's weird that this time is here. Time moves so quickly and slowly at the same time. I don't know. It's just bizarre, but I'm excited about it. And
Yeah.
the last we have put out 4 music videos so far, and the last one is my favorite. So I'm really excited to, wrap it
The
all.
last one that you're going to be putting out, or the one that you just put out like 2 weeks ago?
No, the one that we are about to put out on October 25th. It's like the whole thing kind of has a horror theme. Like I'm really into liminal space horror. And so that was kind of what I wanted to go for the entire thematic element of the EP, just as far as visuals go. And this last one, it was just so cool to shoot. And if you shoot something that's cool, then you know it's going to end up really cool.
Oh
So
yeah, one
I haven't
thousand.
even I haven't even seen the finished edited version of it yet, but yeah, I'm really excited. I can't wait for it.
Oh, I'm stoked to see it too. I was gonna ask you how it feels doing the acting because you do have like some acting in the videos. How is that feel totally weird or is it just natural because you're used to being on stage anyways?
You know, I think like every time we go to shoot a video, like initially it's weird because but we've shot with Dave and Allie, who are like My Good Eye Visuals, they're who shoot a majority of our videos. We've shot with them so many times and their crew so many times. And they, one of their crew members, his name is Rob Brown, and he's like really into theater and he's really good at like getting all of that out of me. So I feel so comfortable around them that it just comes naturally. Like I know that they just want, they're not there to like make fun of my acting skills or judge my acting skills. We all just want like the best possible performance.
Yeah.
So it feels really natural, honestly. And like when I was a kid, I was in a musical or two. So it's, it's always been there. So it's cool. It's cool to be able to
I don't
like,
know why I'm surprised by that. I shouldn't be surprised, not only because you're a vocalist, but also because you are kind of have that extroverted personality. So I don't know why that just surprised me, but for some reason it did.
yeah, dude, I was in Fiddler on the Roof. I was one
Oh
of
my
the,
gosh, that's
yeah, I
so
was one of the sisters. If anyone's familiar with that song, Matchmaker, Matchmaker, Make Me a Match, that was my solo song. So, yeah, it's just, it goes all together. I'm glad that I get to bring all of my talents together.
yes, yeah,
Make,
no kidding.
yeah, it's
Dude,
fun.
Fiddler on the Roof is so good too. That musical is amazing. I
So,
didn't think I liked musicals, but I've learned throughout the years that there's just certain ones that I don't like because I've always really liked Fiddler on the Roof. I like Sweeney Todd, of course. Singing in the Rain is one of my all-time favorite movies. I have a tattoo of Singing in the Rain, and so I'm just like, okay, you do like musicals, and it's okay that you do. You just like certain types of them.
yeah, of course, you love musicals, I would say. You have a tattoo of one.
I
I
know.
I really fucking like musicals. I don't
Yeah.
know what it is about it. I just like them. I always have. Like, I guess Grease is a musical, and my mom
Yeah.
that told me when I was a baby, I would just rewatch Grease over and over and over and over and over again. So it's like a part of my psyche at this point, I guess. But I love
Watched it
them.
again as an adult.
Oh yeah, of course. And Grease too, with Michelle,
Oh yes.
which
Oh
is the
yes.
forgotten Grease. But I am a huge Michelle Pfeiffer fan, so that one was always my favorite. I don't know why.
I really like that one too. And people, yeah, really, really dogged on it. But I thought it was a fun one. I mean the bowling song gets stuck in my head randomly all the time. I don't even bowl. And it just all of a sudden that song pops in and I'm like, I don't know, but I'm gonna go with it because it's a fun one.
It's a fun one, dude. It's good. I love that. Yeah, that's a good movie. I should rewatch that actually. But yeah, I love musicals. So, yeah, music videos, I enjoy it. It's fun. It's something that I don't get to do all the time, but when I do, it's a cool thing. And I get to like roll around in mud and stuff. That's kind of a theme in our music videos that I'm always covered in some kind of goo or slime and mud. And there's a video, we put out a song called All for Nothing, and we actually shot that in Dave and Allie's backyard.
Oh,
And there was like this mud pit in their backyard, and they were like, all right, Chaney, you can like just get in it and kind of crawl around. And I went for it. There were fucking worms. It was disgusting, bugs crawling all over me. And
oh
I
my
just went
God.
for that shit. Because I
Oh,
want I want the video to come out as the best that we can possibly make it. So
you do a really good job. You look natural. I mean, you don't
thank,
look like you're uncomfortable. You don't look like yeah, you don't look like you have worms and bugs all over you.
well, thank you. I was pretending really well that day.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure. I have Hendrix in here, by the way. He keeps
Hey Hendrix, what's up, dude? Are you learning those
disappeared.
guitar? Has he
Uh,
been learning those transcriptions I sent him?
I have been learning an end to everything. I am actually almost completed with that. Uh,
Awesome.
I haven't done the other ones. It's a little hard. First of all, they are a lot harder than I thought they were. I knew they were impressive, but I opened them and oh man.
Yeah, I mean, I can't even begin to imagine how hard that stuff is. But and to everything seems like it's like a slower paced song that might be a little easier to learn. So that's awesome, dude. You should post a playthrough on the YouTube
Yeah,
when you
once I get it fully good and going, because I learned the Iciness by Chelsea Grin, and I was like, that's
wow,
what made really got me into seven string and that and Pisces by Ginger. And I was like,
awesome.
I could ask for tabs. Chaney, see if she can send me some of those tabs for the set list. And
Of course. I got you, dude.
Yeah,
I
he was stoked.
That's awesome. I'm stoked to be able to share it with you. That's super cool. I'm honored that you want to learn some of our songs, and I'm stoked to see you play them. That
Yeah.
rules.
Insane. I had no idea, and I should know these things, but I mean, it seems impossible to keep caught up with everybody and every band and everything. But I had no idea that Naveen was part of Animals as Leaders.
Oh yeah, Naveen is actually like a legend to me. I mean, he was a legend to me before I ever knew him. He's been in Animosity, Animals as Leaders, The Faceless. He played on the latest Job for a Cowboy, The Valley by Whitechapel. He did the latest Machine Head. He's like, yeah, he's all over the place. He's just really humble and never talks about it. So I like to be the person who's like, Naveen is on everything, you know, it
Yeah.
comes up a little bit.
Well,
But
I'm trying to remember, someone had said, someone that I had was talking about Entheos with, was looking you guys up while I was talking about it. And they were like, "Oh, so he played in Animals as Leaders," and I'm a huge Animals as Leaders fan, and so we're actually going to go and see him in November. I've already seen him before, but he's never seen him.
yeah, they're
Um,
cool.
oh, they're a lot of fun. But yeah, I was like, okay, I had no idea.
Yeah, dude. So the first national tour that I ever did was actually doing merch for Animals as Leaders when Naveen was in the band. And then the last tour that he did, I like booked lessons for Tosin. So I was along with them on that. Yeah, we go way back with those guys. When I moved to LA, we all just moved in a house together. And it was one of the best times of my life because we were, of all of our lives, I think, because we were all young and new to LA and like partying and yeah, those are really good friends of ours. Tosin just gave a speech at our wedding and we just saw them on the As I Lay Dying tour. And yeah, I love those guys so much. So they fucking rule.
Yeah, they're pretty awesome. I'm
Yeah.
trying to think of how long ago. I wonder if he was even with them when I saw them, because it's been quite a few years ago, and it was in Boise, obviously, and they were with Horn of Osiris.
He quit in at the end of 2011, so probably not. I
Okay,
don't I don't remember them doing a Born of Osiris tour when he was in the band, but I don't know because we started dating maybe a year or two after he had joined the band.
okay,
So there's some things that I don't really, I wasn't there for. But
right.
yeah, I
Yeah,
don't know. But
pretty
yeah,
cool.
yeah, it was awesome. It's cool because he has such a different flavor than Matt. Like Matt is more of a like jazz influenced like type of drummer, and Naveen's obviously from the metal world. So they had completely different styles in the band, and both of them are amazing to watch with animals.
Yeah,
So yeah.
that's cool. How many instruments does he play then?
Naveen plays guitar and drums really well. He can play bass. He plays also like mridanga, which is a drum. It's an Indian drum that goes along with like it's a religious drum that you play during I want to call it chanting or prayer,
Oh,
while
okay.
you're saying. So he can pretty much dabble on anything that he is given, but it's mostly guitar and drums. Those are his bread and butter.
That's cool.
Yeah,
That's
it's
cool.
awesome.
Yeah. So, what is the typical day in your household? Um, you guys, I mean, seem like you crank out music pretty fairly quickly. So are you guys just always writing? Always like you guys are in the middle of a show and then are like, oh, put it on pause. I just thought of something.
Kind of. It's like so a typical day in our house, we wake up at like 11 in the morning and drink coffee and kind of like conduct a little podcast between the two of us. Like, what are we going to do today? And then he's got his own office. I have my own office. He will work on, he'll write music or get ready for a playthrough. Right now, he's getting ready to, he's at a studio because he's getting ready to engineer a session for the Meinl, the cymbal company. So he's also an engineer. He does that too. But yeah, it just depends on what the day is. I ship out all of our merch, so I kind of prioritize doing that in the morning. And yeah, we write constantly. And a lot of it is because of Naveen. Naveen can't stop writing music. Like if he is left to his own devices, that's what he's going to do all day. Like our EP isn't out. we've already got like half of an album written that we want to record at the end of the year. So it's a constant thing, and it's cool that we can operate that way, you know, as a two-person band. So yeah, we're just, you know, whatever may come. Today I was like working on an art project because I'm making a gift for my sister-in-law. So it's just luckily we can, you know, schedule our own day around whatever we want to do. So, and we do podcasts and
Right.
playthroughs all the time. We usually shoot a couple of playthroughs a week. So, yeah, it's just like constant creativity. And we'll sit down and watch a show maybe at like 11 or 12 at night, usually, and go to bed around 3 and do it every day, just the same.
Yeah. It
Yeah.
doesn't sound too bad.
It's not too bad. Yeah. Sometimes I'm like, I need to leave the house more. You know, you
Yeah.
can feel like your house is a prison after a while. Like, I need to get out of here. But yeah, it's pretty awesome. I wouldn't, you know, I feel like we've kind of like carved out a thing that we used to dream about doing. And that sometimes I have to like stop and remember that because it's so cool. Because it's easy to get caught up in like the grind of all of this stuff and get totally like lost in what's going on right now. But if I could show my 16-year-old self what's going on, I would freak out. Like, dude, you have the coolest life ever. That's insane. How did you do that? You know? So yeah, it's pretty awesome. I love it.
That's cool. When you guys do end up sitting down and watching something, what kind of show or maybe do you usually watch?
Lately I've been really obsessed with World War II. So it's a lot of World War II documentaries, but we watch like Kill Tony. It's this comedy podcast we watch a lot. Um, Halloween movies have been lately. I'm a very like G-rated Halloween movie
Oh
watcher.
my gosh.
Like Beetlejuice is about the scariest I'm getting, or like Halloween Town from the Disney Channel. Uh, but stuff like that. I'm really into documentaries more than
Yeah.
anything. So I've seen so many documentaries. It's insane. But that's really what we watch when we sit down to, you know, chill at the end of the night.
Are they usually history related type of documentaries?
They can be about anything as long as it's a well done documentary.
Yeah,
Because I feel like if a documentary is really well shot, the narration is really good, you can kind of get interested in anything.
truth.
But let's say Amazon has a lot of really crappy documentaries. So if it's like a YouTube clip art type documentary, I'll turn it off. But literally I can become interested in anything if there's a good story behind it.
That's cool. Have you seen the one called I Am? It was a director. Sorry, my dog is dying in the background. It
That's
was the director that did a bunch of 90s, like a lot of them were Jim Carrey movies. And he gets
Oh,
in
I am.
yes,
Yes.
yes, it's
The
one of
one
my
that's all
favorites.
about yeah, what's his name? I can't remember his
I
name,
can't
but
remember his name either.
he
I
basically
can see him, but I can't think of what his name is.
yeah, he like realizes that he achieved all of these things that he wanted to achieve in life and that that is not what happiness actually is about. Yes, I saw that documentary years ago. It's so good.
It's one of my favorites. Yeah, that one and A Waking Life. And have you seen A Waking Life?
I don't know. I don't know.
It's super weird. It's all in kind of like a weird kind of animation, almost like, oh, what's that?
Oh, dude, it's like Idiocracy. Waking Life. Is that what you're talking about? It's shot, it's real actors, but someone went back over it and kind of like made it into an animation
Yes,
looking. I have
yes,
absolutely seen that. It's like a philosophy
yes,
based.
yep.
Yes, that is such a good movie. I love
Yeah,
that.
that one's really good too. They have all those different specialists and yeah, philosophers and spiritualists and everything that come into that one as well. And just basically, yeah, talk about life.
Yeah, that I love stuff like that. I mean,
Um,
my you know, existential philosophical obsession. I just like learning about all kind of stuff like that.
Well, and you incorporate that into your lyrics, not only just kind of life stuff, but yeah, existential related type things as well, which you
Yeah.
did in this EP as well. Do you want to
Yeah.
talk about that? I mean, I know you have a lot of the songs out already, but
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's interesting because I tend to write about death and life and like taking advantage of the time that we have a lot. You know, we talked about time will take us all, you know. I kind of, a lot of stuff that I write about is like that. And it's interesting because I found a notebook, because I have a lot of my notebooks from throughout the years that I would write poetry in. And I found one from when I was in 8th grade, and I was still writing about the same stuff then. So it's fascinating that that has, been something that I've been so interested in for so long in my life. But yeah, for some reason, it's not that I'm obsessed with death. It's just that I know it's coming and it scares me in a way. I'm interested in it in a way because none of us have any idea about what comes after that. And on the EP in particular, it's a little more like long story short, I had a really, really close friend who I worked very closely with when I lived in California. And he was not a drug addict, but he died because of things related to drug addiction and related to enabling a drug addict. And I watched this all happen in front of my eyes. And the whole EP is basically me writing about that and where I found catharsis in dealing with losing one of my best friends. And it was really hard. And it's still something that I haven't totally wrapped my mind around because he died like maybe 3 months after I moved. And it's like I haven't been back to his house. And it's just something that I've had a really hard time dealing with. And writing all of this stuff, I feel because he was a huge fan of metal, of progressive metal. And I was constantly like, I can't wait to show you what we're writing next, dude. You're gonna think this is like the best shit ever because he loved hearing me sing on Time Will Take Us All. And he was like, dude, you need to do more of that. You have to do more.
Mhm.
And I would always just be like, I can't wait to show you what's going to happen next, man. And I never got to show him. And that really, it breaks my heart because he was like such a close person to me in our tastes, our interests. He introduced me to so many things that influenced me. Like the only person who ever got me to watch stuff that wasn't G-rated, that were actually scary horror movies. He's the only he got me into the Grateful Dead, a band that I never thought I would be
Mm.
into. You know, he really opened my mind to a lot of things. And so yeah, writing this EP was my way of dealing with it so far. I'm sure I'll write about it more in the future. Uh, so yeah, it's weird that all of these like existential things tend to happen surrounding when I'm going in to write something. I don't know why that is happening, but it just seems to happen, and this is my way of dealing with it. So the whole EP is kind of my ode to him. You know, it's all for him, and I feel really good that I was able to do that and honor his memory in that way because he was a fantastic, brilliant human who I feel never really got to live out like everything that he was meant for in this life because of certain decisions that he made. And it's really unfortunate, and I feel like that happens a lot.
Mhm.
And you know, maybe some other people can relate to this. I feel like we all know someone who's been affected by drugs in some way. Like the opioid crisis is a huge, huge thing in the United States. So yeah, that's always the philosophical existential thing has always been a part of my writing and trying to see that there is more to life than living and that our souls maybe go somewhere after we die. I have no idea. So this is how I like cope with the unknown, I guess.
Right, right. I'm sorry about your friend. That's never easy,
Yeah.
especially when it's younger people. It's never easy.
Yeah.
Um, what I feel like I remember, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure there's a few of these songs that you guys did live on this last tour. That's in on the EP. How has that been performing them? Does it pull the emotions out of you, or is it kind of just like a back thought, or how do you process through that part of it?
Oh, every single night when I'm singing those songs, I think about him. It's like hard to escape that. And I found myself some nights on this last tour, like almost in tears, just thinking, you know, no one else knows what I'm going through with that. But yeah, just really feeling like he was kind of there with me when I was doing it. So, dude, it totally pulls out those emotions. It's hard when you, and that is why I've never really wanted to join someone else's band because I don't feel like I would relate to their lyrics as much. And I really want that relation to lyrics because I think that it makes for something that's more honest and more heartfelt in performance and on album. So, dude, yeah, there were so many times where I was just like, damn, I was thinking while I was singing, like, this is really hitting me right now. But I think it makes it like better and greater in
Oh,
in those moments.
more raw, more real. Absolutely. So afterwards, when you're going and meeting people and, everybody's so impressed with you guys that they want to come and talk to you, how do you make that switch at that point of where you're like, oh man, I'm about ready to fall apart. And then you're like, okay, hi.
I kind of like leave it all up there on the stage. And I really like I like hanging out with people and meeting people and kind of, hearing what they're going through and relating to them on that. So it's kind of easy for me to just move on from that moment in the night and be like, all right, I'm here now talking to people. This is what we're doing. So, yeah.
So the people that do recognize what your lyrics are about, whether they know about, your friend or not, but are coming and telling you their stories. I've asked this to the last few people because people that really talk about or sing about things from the heart or things that are emotional things. I'm always curious about when other people come to you about their stuff, if it's ever hard to shake off their stuff, because there's such thing as secondary trauma.
I don't It's not really hard for me to shake that off. And I honestly welcome it because I enjoy, not that I enjoy hearing about hardships that people have gone through, but I like being able to be there for people. I like talking about those things with people. Like maybe it's just the kind of person that I am, but I know that that person is saying that because they need someone to say it to. And I like that I enjoy the fact that they have enough trust in me to share that with me, and I want to be there for them in the best way possible, whether it's, my best friend or someone that I'm just meeting at a show. Like, I recognize that because everyone needs someone to talk to, and I just try to be there for them as much as possible. And, I don't really feel like I am the type of person who like holds on to that trauma. I'm able to kind of process it in my own way. And I just want to like be there for people rather than hold on to I want us both to be able to like be able to let it go together, if that
Yeah,
makes sense.
absolutely. You're such a genuine person, and I think that's such a like it's that human connection and that realness that I mean, that's the existential part of you, the realness that you crave, that human connection that you crave, and you're just very genuine about it. I mean, you've helped me through my recent stupid stuff
Well,
behind the scenes, which
I'm
I so
honored.
appreciate.
I'm
So
honored, dude.
appreciate.
I'm just like, I don't know. I'm just a real person and I really care about people. And I recognize that people need someone. Sometimes I need someone to be there for me. And none of us are alone. I don't want anyone to feel like they're alone. And I've always kind of been like that. I'm just the type of person who will like make friends with anyone. That's how I was in high school. I wasn't like only friends with the popular kids or only friends with the theater nerds or whatever. I was just friends with everyone because I love those connections. And I really think that's what a lot of life is about, is the human connection. And maybe we don't even find enough, like see enough value in that,
Mhm.
and how important that is. I was reading this study and it's like the number one thing that contributes to longevity, to livelihood longevity, is being a part of a community, having friends. And I like take that to heart. I just want to be like a friend to everyone and be there for people. That's just, I like that.
That's beautiful. But you're so busy and you have so much going on. And the fact that you still take time out for people is really amazing.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I try.
I was the same way. In high school, I was friends with, yeah, like everybody. And I remember some of the like more popular friends would be like, why do you talk to them? Why do you talk to them? And I'm like, because they're cool. And if you took the time to get to know them and talk to them too, then you would think the same thing. Like it's such a weird thing. I know we all, like you said, want to be a part of a community, but it's so bizarre when it becomes like the cliquey type of communities, you know?
Oh yeah, high school is such a weird world because there's like this hierarchy of kids, like the popular kids and all of that stuff, and none of that exists in the real world. And a lot of the times, the kids you would have thought of as being like the losers in high school are the coolest, most popular adults, the
Mm-hmm.
people who contribute so much to the world. And it's like, I just never saw that as a thing. It was always so weird to me that people wouldn't
Yeah,
associate with other people based on like some arbitrary popularity contest. That's so stupid.
I agree. I agree. And I think a lot of the people that didn't like subscribe to that knew themselves better. And that's probably why they're maybe more fulfilled as adults, because they were able to get to know themselves better and try, instead of trying to like fit the mold of what we're supposed to be.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree with you.
Yeah. I want to talk about this is like a total dynamic shift from a very serious conversation, but I want to talk about your guys's podcast, Twitch channel, all that, all these things that you guys are doing, because you guys are doing a lot.
Yeah, so we have a podcast called Copper Crab Podcast. Naveen and I, my husband and my partner in pretty much everything. The band. So we do a podcast. We shoot it live on Twitch every Tuesday. Sometimes we have guests, sometimes we don't. We started it right before COVID, which is funny because
Oh wow.
so many people started their podcast during COVID.
Yeah.
We actually quit our podcast during COVID, which was weird, but and then we picked it back up again kind of toward the end of 2020. But it's with our reasoning behind doing it, like we just really like building the community of this music thing, like finding like-minded people to kind of hang out with and just share whatever knowledge we have about existing in the music industry and bringing in cool people that we know to talk about, the cool things they have to offer. And it's been really cool. We have like a whole community of people. We call them the Golden Lobsters. And because
That's fun.
copper crab, golden lobster, but yeah, so we do it every Tuesday. It's been honestly like just such a cool part of my life. Like we'll talk about stopping sometimes. We're like, do we really need to talk on the internet every week? Like, do people care about this? But so many people come up to us at shows and talk about it and mention things that have helped them that we just feel kind of, I don't want to say obligated, but it gives us a reason to want to continue doing it. So yeah, we just did one last night with our friend Sid, who was in this hardcore band called Sworn Enemy. And so we do that on Tuesdays, and then on Thursdays we just get on Twitch and have like a copper crab happy hour and play a bunch of music and just sit and chat and drink some beer and chill. Really, it's just so fun. I don't know. It's like I feel like we have like our own rad community of people that just continues to build, and it's just been a really cool thing to have for like I don't know 5 years at this point. It's insane.
And it's an added connection to the fans, you know, because you guys are definitely gaining more and more and more momentum.
Yeah, well, thank you. It's hard
Well,
to
you know that.
yeah, it's hard to see sometimes, it's a part of getting like caught in the work, just having your head down and doing work constantly. So it's weird. You never know how it's perceived from the outside. You can think one thing and then, so it's cool to hear that from someone who is not me or Naveen. So
Yeah, yeah. Well, I can always tell, like when I start announcing interviews that I'm doing, I can
mhm.
always like I'll think, oh, okay, this one a lot of because a lot of people are going to be excited about, and this one I'm not sure, and when I mention you, everybody's like, okay, tell me when it comes out. I want to see it, and people just love you. People just love you in general, but they definitely love the band.
That is amazing. That's so cool. And it also is rad because I like talking to you because you have a way of like not conducting like a normal interview and we get to talk and be real people together. Whereas a lot of interviews that I do when it's like we're getting ready to release something, it's kind of like stereotypical questions. And those are easy to get sick of because you feel like you don't really get to completely express yourself. And it's more of like, all right, say 5 words about this, 5 words about this. And so I really enjoy talking to you. So that's awesome that people like or want to listen to it.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think I could do a choppy one if I tried. It feels so awkward. And you can tell, like I've watched other interviewers and obviously there's some absolutely incredible ones, but I've watched some of those ones that you can tell that they just have a list of questions. And I feel uncomfortable and I'm not have nothing to do with it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so uncomfortable right now.
Dude, totally. Believe me, that's how most people, like the person being interviewed feels as well. It's like, okay, you went and read the Wikipedia. I got it. You're asking, let's get something going here that people aren't going to hear somewhere else. That's what's so cool about interviews. And those are the interviews that I want to hear. So, yeah.
Yeah, same. Yeah, I like kind of diving in and knowing a little bit more. So let's talk about the tour because you just got off tour with a pretty big tour.
Oh, yeah.
It's so funny. I don't know, did Chelsea Grin come on later or was I just blind out the name? I don't know what in the world.
Blinded out the name, my friend. They
Really?
were on the tour before we were. Well,
Oh
not
my
before,
gosh.
but when the tour got pitched to us, which I've known that the tour was going to happen for like a year and a half because it
Mm.
actually was supposed to happen earlier this year, but I think it got pushed back a little because of As I Lay Dying's album release schedule. So I've known that Chelsea Grin was going to be on it for a year and a half or so, but yeah, you just blanked that one out, I guess.
Oh, what in the world? What it was like, what would you say, like maybe a month before the show that I finally was like, oh, Chelsea Grin's on there too. And I was
You
like,
just saw
crap,
you
this
saw
guy's a
my band's name and you got so excited that we were on it that you just blacked out.
that's 100%. That's 100% what happened because not I'm not well, we left early. I'm not a huge As I Lay Dying fan. It's not that I hate the music by any means. I'm just not a big fan. And so yeah, absolutely. But I really like Chelsea Grin too, and they've been around for freaking ever. And so I don't know what in the world. But I thought I was like, maybe they came on later. That'll make me feel better if that's the case. So just lie to me, please.
You're just getting older. It's that older, the brain's going. That's how it goes.
Yeah.
Sure.
Oh my goodness. So how was it? I mean, it seems like it was a very, very like sold out in a lot of places. Very big show.
It was incredible. It was the biggest tour that we've ever done in the best placement that we've ever had on a, huge tour like that. Every night was packed. The crowds were amazing. And I feel like we were playing to a lot of people because, some tours you go on, everyone knows who you are. Some tours you go on, not as many people know who you are. So I feel like we had the chance to be exposed to a lot of new people because we're not 100% a part of like the metal core scene. And As I Lay Dying has a lot of like older fans because the band has a ton of has hit records from what, 2003? I can't remember when those first records came
I
out,
was
but
thinking even before that, but that's probably
maybe, I mean, they've been a huge band for so long that they have fans, they have people who grew up listening to their music and now they're bringing their kids to the shows. So it's like one of those type of situations. And it was just so cool to be on the tour, to get to play to so many new people. The reception to our band was amazing, like everything I could have ever asked for and more. And the bands were so nice. Touring with Chelsea Grin and As I Lay Dying was amazing. I'm one of those people who has listened to As I Lay Dying since I was a 13-year-old kid. Like I remember my grandma, I was at Target with my grandma and Shadows or Security had come out and I wanted to buy it at Target and my grandma was like, I don't like that band's name. You're not buying that record. So I didn't get to buy it with her, but I got to buy it with my mom. Luckily, my mom was way cooler, But so I just have those moments attached to that band. And then I got asked to do a guest vocal with them every single night. I think it was like the week after I saw you. Tim,
oh,
Tim asked me to come on stage and do a guest vocal with him every single night. And I was
oh,
just like, what happened here? Like, what is life? This is insane. And they were just like the nicest guys ever. An example of how incredible they were to us is in Houston, I believe. So we all get backstages, and usually in backstage rooms, there's a bathroom. Every band gets their own bathroom and shower. And in Houston at the House of Blues, they were working on the green rooms. So we had to go use the general public bathroom, which I don't care. I grew up in, playing bar venues. I've showered in those bathrooms. I don't care. But they bought us a hotel room that day so that we could go to the hotel room and like have our own private time, like that really makes all the difference in being on tour with a band, like how well they treat you, because you will go on tour with bands. I don't want to say that they're mean, but they're just not as accommodating. They don't really care about how your experience is on the tour. And they were really like tuned in to how everyone's experience on the tour would be. And that touring is very hard. It's very grueling. And those type of things make all the difference in the experience that you have on the road. So it was just like it was like a dream come true, really. It was an incredible tour. And I wanted to cry on the last day because I was like, I wish this could go on for the next 5 years because it's such a fun time. And those are the types of tours you really want to do when you're a musician.
Of course, they set the bar high. So
Yeah.
do you know yet? I mean, you just got done, but I know that they're like August Burns Red. I swear they don't stop. There's some bands that just don't stop. Do you know what you have coming up, or are you guys just settling into writing the next album?
Oh yeah, we know. Generally, it just depends, but usually you kind of have an idea what you're going to do for at least the next year-ish. I would say maybe 6 months to a year. Like I said, that the As I Lay Dying offer we got in, I would say maybe May or June of 2023. So you kind of know that far in advance. The music industry plans bigger bands like headlining huge bands like Cannibal Corpse or As I Lay Dying. They usually have like a whole album cycle planned out. Like here, this is when we're going to do a headlining tour and this, because once you're like established enough, those people want to be able to plan their lives because we do want some sense of normalcy, so that's kind of the goal, is to get your band to a point where you aren't getting last minute offers and you can plan your life and your album cycle around touring and you know what's going on.
Right, that makes sense. Yeah. So I'm assuming you probably can't tell, which is understandable.
I can't tell. We're actually, we're making decisions right now. That's what I'll say.
Okay,
So,
cool.
yeah.
I would assume, and I don't know if this is, and if you can even answer this or if this is part of it, but I would not be surprised if you guys are going to be doing your own headlining tour, probably. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, that was another thing about the tour we just did. We did some off day shows. And generally, when you do shows that are like off days from tours, they are not well promoted. It's not the same as doing your own headlining tour. They're just kind of last minute to get you some money when you're trying to get from this city to that city instead of having a day off. And the headlining shows that we did on this last tour were like way beyond our expectations. We didn't know what to expect.
Minneapolis, I know that.
Yeah, Minneapolis was one, Las Vegas was one, and Las Vegas was insane. We almost sold that show out. So so it like gave us a lot of courage. And yes, we're definitely looking at doing a headliner. We're talking about all of that stuff right now. Hopefully like right around the time that we put out our next album, which we are also talking about right now. So yeah, it's weird because I'm horrified to headline shows, and I was horrified to go and headline those off day shows because all the pressure's on you.
Yeah.
And I don't like that. I'm the type of person who, like, if I plan a party, I'm afraid that there's going to be no one there. So that's what I expected. And every night before we went on, I was like, are there people here? Like, and there were people there. So yeah, it gave.
So that's the momentum that you don't necessarily get to see, but it's happening.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah. You're right. You're right.
So do you know, well, I'm sure you know, do you get to choose who you want to take on with you then?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, we get to choose. There are all kinds of things at play. Sometimes your booking agent or your management or your label will make some suggestions, but at the end of the day, the headlining band gets to choose everyone that they take out. Yeah, yeah,
That's cool.
yeah.
Do you have like a list that you guys have made of some that you would want to take with you?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
we have a list. We've been thinking about it. We've been planning for this for years, waiting for this to happen.
You're like,
So
I'm planning for it, but I'm terrified of it.
exactly. Terrified. So yeah, we have there, there are some obvious choices and then there are some that we don't really know, but more than anything, we just want to put together a diverse lineup. Like we don't want to, because that's how our band is. I feel like it's really hard to pigeonhole us into one specific genre.
Mhm.
And that's the kind of lineup that we want to put together. One that's not just a strictly deathcore, strictly tech death or metalcore lineup. We want different bands who bring their own thing, because you want to make a good show. At the
Yeah,
end of the day, you want people to be interested in the entire show and not feeling like they're hearing the same thing all night or
that's
uh,
true.
yeah. So it's a kind of a lot of pressure, but it's fun to think about that stuff.
We saw was it last year or no, it's earlier this year. We saw the Death Clock tour that had Death Clock, Necrogoblicon, and Dragon Force, and it was the weirdest lineup, but it was so cool. It was so much fun.
I love that. Yeah, we were going to do a tour with Necrogoblicon and then they got that. And I was like, damn, that's sick. I don't blame you guys for not doing a headliner because that's amazing.
Yeah, it's a big, big show, and it's such a weird trio, but it worked.
How was Death
Necrogoblicon
Clock?
is so much fun. How was Death Clock?
Yeah, how was Death Clock?
Oh my gosh. So awesome. I actually got to interview Brendan for the last album and the movie. I know it was so much fun. And he is like
Amazing.
so easy. It's
Well,
so easy to talk to.
isn't that rad when you don't know someone, you know that they're associated with all of this cool stuff and you don't know how they're going to be
Yes,
once you sit and talk to them and then they end up being really cool. It's like the coolest feeling ever.
it really is. It really is. Because yeah, you don't know. And usually I guess in this role, people are pretty much on their best behavior. So I don't know like outside of
Yeah,
this, like if
trying to
they're
look good for the camera.
right. If they're like, yeah, I'm a good guy.
Yeah,
But no, he was like so easy and so much fun, and you can tell he's a good dude. But it was a lot of fun. The only thing that was kind of a bummer is they had, of course, Metalocalypse in the background, which was really fun, but it was really dark on the stage, so you couldn't really see the musicians very well. It was like the focal point was on the animated show.
yeah, they're very God, is it like backlit? So the lights are kind of
Yeah,
yeah, it's all shadowy figures.
yes,
Meshuggah
yes,
does that too. I like a little front light. Like, let's see the
yeah,
play a little bit. I feel you on that one for
yeah.
sure.
Yeah, and the knitting factory actually, I'm going to be really careful with what I say here. The new light person, I'm used to the old light person and her name's Maddie. She absolutely incredible. She lives in Washington now. But the new person really likes to use red
Oh yeah.
and you can't see anybody. So even with you guys, it was the new light person, and I was like, it seems like every show we go to, unless they bring on their own light person.
Here's what I'll tell you is that both us and Death Clock have our own light people. So
Oh, good, good.
it's our lighting person. And the
Oh,
reason it's so much red is because I love red so much, but I didn't realize that it's so bad for cameras.
yes.
So kind of like lately, I love red. Like it fits our band so well. I'm like
Mhm.
a strict red and white light only. Don't throw any goddamn greens up. Don't make us look like the Mexican flag colors, like red, green, and Christmas or anything like that. I want it to be red and white, but I'm realizing that red doesn't always make for the best videos or show. So I'm
Or
kind
watching, yeah.
of
But
yeah,
so that's it. That surprises me because the white guy that I'm talking about, and I don't mean to talk badly, and I hope that this is not coming across badly. But that's his bread and butter. Like that's what
oh
he
yeah.
does with all the shows. That's why I assumed it wasn't your person. So I'm like, it's
Damn
here we are with the red again.
it. It's the red guy again.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sucks because red just looks so cool. It's such a cool color, but it's just not the best to watch. I feel you on that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm
You're
I just
like, are they still up there?
I know I realized when I was watching some of our videos, it's like you can't even tell that I'm a person until the white lights come on. Like you have no idea what's going on up there because I really like the cemetery look. I
Mm.
like there to be a ton of fog and us to look all mysterious, but I think that there are probably better ways to achieve that than just using red all the time.
Maybe when you start having like the finances and stuff to do the back screen thing, if you guys are gonna do
Yeah.
that, you can have that be all like red and black and white and then
Yeah,
have some
exactly. I know I've been
fireworks.
like LED thing. I've been looking at those setups lately, and it's really cool for that purpose to not have to use so many like red lights in that case because it kind of creates a visual scape of itself. So
Right.
yeah, definitely.
Are you have you ever watched the Dead South before?
No, I've never even heard of that.
So they're a bluegrass band. They're like storytellers. They're so much fun. If I think about it after this, I'll send you one or two of their videos. But
Awesome.
their live shows are some of the funnest because they have like this last time I saw them, they had these like Wild West buildings and they had the shadows of like cowboys and stuff that were walking across.
Oh wow.
It was, and they were like having like different like shootouts and stuff during, I don't know, they have the they have the coolest live shows. They do the coolest things, and I'm sure it's far from cheap. They have the money. But it's super interesting. It's really cool what they do. I always look forward to what they're gonna do next because it's always different.
I love that. I'm such a sucker for good production, like in bands, and I get really disappointed when I see bands that I know can afford really good production and they don't have, sick lights or timed lights or just something going on stage that's not just a band playing. I'm such a sucker for that. And like Ghost is really good at their stage production is amazing. I saw Amon Amarth too. I really like Amon Amarth's stage production. It's kind of it like verges on like you feel like you're at Disney World a little bit because of the have you seen Amon Amarth live before?
I've only seen them at Mayhem. And
Okay.
so it was not their, yeah, it was not
It
their
was
like being able to do their production type stuff.
well, dude, they have like a blow up dragon come out, and the vocalist like does the hammer of Thor thing, and it's like a whole thing. Like you feel like you're watching a skit the entire time. So it's like funny and cool. I like having something to watch aside from the band once you get to a point where you can afford it. And even like I'll tell my friends who aren't in bands that can really afford that much, but it's like one of the first things that we invested in was our own little light rig. And for smaller bands, it only costs a few $1,000s to invest in your own light rig. You can MIDI program it and it makes your show so much cooler to watch than just going in and having the house guy do whatever and not really knowing anything about your music. It just
Mhm.
like it ups the ante a little bit and it makes you stand out. So I tell all of my friends like invest in this shit. If you have a few $1,000s, like try to make your stage show look a little cooler. Every time
Yeah.
you go, try to do that. And I'm such a sucker for that stuff.
Yeah, I am too. Although there are still, of course, bands like you guys Unearth that just gets up there and plays and you're just so flabbergasted that you don't necessarily need all that.
Yeah,
Um,
totally.
but it's still, still is cool to have that extra. Oh shoot, I was gonna add to that and it just disappeared.
That's how it goes, dude.
All too often. I do this with my day job. And so I'm like trying to help people with their mental health. And I'm like, hold on, it left.
That's
Please
let
stay with
me
me.
remember the helpful thing. I was just
I know. We're like, can we switch roles for a second? I need a breather. Um, that's what it was. So I always thought it'd be really cool to add like scent. You know how scent is like something that brings back memories?
girl, you and I both, dude. Yes. So the way to do that would be into like a smoke machine. You add
Mhm.
a little essential oil to it and
Yes.
you have a little scent. I
Yes.
I think that is such a cool idea. Or like I like to bring a little incense out on stage,
Yes.
to just change because scent, yes, it brings back memories. It shifts the mood a little bit when you smell something. It shifts what's going on, and you start to associate that with that band. And I think that's such a cool idea.
Yes. Yes. I love that you thought of that too, because I'm like, this is genius. Why aren't people doing this? You smell that smell later on, and then it takes you back to that experience.
Exactly. And being the like new age hippie that I am deep inside, I'm like, my whole house smells like incense and sage all the time.
You don't have ghosts then, so that's good. You're not living a real life horror movie.
Yeah, I don't think so. I hope not, because the paranormal is literally the thing that I'm most horrified of in the world, which is weird as someone who likes think about death and write about it so much. If a ghost shows up in my house, I am moving the fuck out of this neighborhood. I'm over it. I will leave that day.
The house down.
I'm burning it down. No, thank you.
Oh my gosh.
Have you ever seen a ghost before?
I have not. I have had we had a friend pass away in 2018. He drank too much and ended up dying a slow and awful, painful death.
Oh, no.
But after he had passed, there's been weird things. Like our Xbox tried to sign him in a few times. And like when I would talk about him, sometimes the bathroom lights would flicker, and it's the only time that they would flicker. So I've had like some kind of weird things of where I'm like, that is hard to say is not a coincidence, but as actually physically seeing someone, no, I don't know how I'd feel. Depends on who it is, I think.
I agree with you. I have had a similar experience. So my grandma was with a man named Gary for a really long time, who was like a grandfather to me, but they were never married, but they were together my entire life. And he died, and I went with my grandma to help clean out Gary's house. And when we were there, a music box in one of the rooms just started going off while we were there, and it scared the bejesus out of me. First of all, I knew it was Gary, but it's like still weird to me that Gary was hanging out there and turning on the music box. I'm still like, I'm trying to get out of here, Grandma. And so that happened to me when I was a kid, and my grandmother gifted it to me a few years ago. So I have it. And I told Naveen, I was like, I am not putting this shit in my house. So it's out in my storage shed right now. And it might go off, but I will never know, because I will not keep it in my house, even though it's someone who I loved dearly, who meant so much to me. I just can't. I don't.
You're like, if that thing goes off in the middle of the night, I'm gonna put my pants and run.
Yeah, I will freak out. Like, I've had night terrors and stuff, but yeah, that stuff just freaks me the hell out. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. I totally get it. That's Could you please quit watching us? This is really unnerving. Same grandma that would have let you get the As I Lay Dying CD.
Yeah, she's like, here's this music box where a ghost definitely turned it on one time. I know you want it. I'm like, Grandma. I told my mom, I was like, what was she? Is this just a part of the dementia kicking in, or what's going on?
Like, I saw the fear in your eyes, and I was like, she wants this.
Yeah, like, Jesus, dude. So yeah, it's out in a box in the storage shed.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. I would be really curious if that thing is coming out.
Me too. I honestly haven't thought about it from this moment is the first time I've thought about it since I put it out there.
You have night terrors tonight now.
No, Gary's gonna show up in my dreams tonight. They say that you see people 3 times and then they move on. Have you heard?
Oh, I haven't heard that.
Yeah, like how sometimes like someone will pass and you kind of think you see them in another person or in a dream. So they say it happens 3 times, and I haven't seen Gary. So God damn it, he's gonna come tonight.
He's gonna come to you in your dream, and he's gonna be like, would you please get that music box out and put it in your house?
It's the music box. That's what's keeping him in purgatory.
Just sage your bed. Just sage your bedroom tonight. Gary, no.
This God. You're not allowed here. I'll sage it.
He's like at the door knocking. in, but can you please just hear
Oh
me
my
out here?
God.
I need to move on. You're not letting me move
Yeah.
on.
No, you know what actually scares the shit out of me is, so I'm afraid of the dark, which I don't know if a lot of adults are afraid of the dark. I've heard some people sleep completely in the dark, not me.
Yeah.
I'm horrified of the dark, so I leave the lights on outside of our bedroom, and every night when I wake up, I am horrified that I'm going to see a figure standing in my doorway. Like that's, if that happens, I'm so afraid of it. It's
Or
horrible.
setting yourself up there.
I know, dude. And then
Nightlight or something.
And then I don't know if you know about this book that Patton Oswalt's wife wrote
Oh,
about. Um,
the true crime one?
yes. So I started reading that, and one thing that that murderer would do is stand in people's doorways before he attacked. And I had to stop. It was like on maybe the 10th page. I had to stop reading right there. Like if this is how she's starting the book, I'm not going to be able to read this shit because I'm already so afraid of that happening.
I'm not going on this ride with her.
Yeah, I
Oh
am
my
so
gosh.
you.
Are those documentaries that you ever watch, like the murder
Oh
type?
yeah. I
Yeah.
love watching that. Don't you feel like all women like watching those documentaries?
You know, it's funny. I used to not. I've always been really interested in cult documentaries because I am interested in the human psyche and why people can like who seems to be logical, normal people can be susceptible to that. It's very interesting to me. But I
Same.
used to not like to watch the murder ones because I have had periods of time in life where my anxiety is really, really high and out of control, and it just freaks me out. But now them a lot, and it's almost like this extra layer of protection because now that I'm single again, I don't trust anybody. And so
God.
it's like this, like, okay, yeah, like I'm an overly trusting person, and so it's almost like a reminder of don't trust everybody because
Yeah.
there's not everybody has good intentions.
What's that like? Have you gotten like back in the dating game? Are you like, what's it like to be single at this point in your life? Sorry, I'm just adjusting my microphone.
No,
Hold
you're
on.
good.
Right.
You know, it's so kind of embarrassing because you know what I do for a living, and so my clients that are single that are around my age, I just feel like, oh my gosh, that just sounds exhausting. It sounds terrifying. Like, so glad I don't have to do that anymore. So when I was kind of thrown into it, I was like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to, I'll just be by myself. I don't want to do this. Like, I got my kid, me and him are close. Yeah, I'm good, you know? But of course, there's that desire to have that like human connection. And sometimes I don't connect with people on a romantic level super easily.
Yeah.
But I have had the strong connection with someone that I've been like Facebook friends with for a while. And but he's far enough away that it feels comfortable for me right now.
Yeah, totally.
So that's kind of like anybody that's close by makes me feel claustrophobic. So far
Oh, wow.
away, it's going well. I
Yeah.
very much enjoy him, and I'm good with that for now. So that's where I'm at with it.
Yeah, that's fascinating. I also am of the same mind. Like, I've been in a relationship for 14 years. I always say to my friends, especially with Tinder and everything, it seems very daunting
Yes.
and scary. And like I said, I watch a lot of these documentaries. I wouldn't trust any of these people. And it seems like a whole new world. How long were you in a relationship for before this?
Me and Daniel were together for almost 14 years.
Okay, so the
Everything's
landscape
changed.
of dating has changed so much. Yeah. So I completely understand that why you would want to keep someone at a distance at this point. Like 14 years is a really long time. And I imagine that you're kind of like meeting or like learning about yourself as a single person again and trying to
Mhm.
like re-understand and readjust. So of course, we want that human connection and it's great to have someone to talk to, but why rush into anything? You
Totally.
know what it's like to be in a relationship, and it makes more sense to like, be comfortable with yourself and be completely good with Nico. Like this is, and understand yourself before you get into that situation again. And I think that that
Yeah.
will make your next relationship that much stronger and that much healthier because you'll be able to like be confident in yourself and not sacrifice anything about yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And there has been a really weird layer of I don't even know what the word is, like my anxiety's gone way down, and I
What?
felt like I had a very healthy marriage. I felt like I did not feel like we didn't really argue, we didn't really fight. We had a very healthy relationship, which is why it was so shocking. But I feel a lot less anxious now, and I don't know what that is.
Sometimes I think that those things don't really come out until you're out of the situation. Like I also am super interested in the human psyche and I read about like psychology things every day. And actually earlier today I was reading about emotional codependency and
Mhm.
just people who had put themselves in that situation and how many people just didn't realize that they were investing their emotions or basing their emotional stability that much on the other person or relying on them that much until they were out of the relationship. And it's like, once you get out of the relationship, you can start to understand all of these, like, oh, that's why I felt that way. And this is, it's just, it's like rediscovering yourself in a way. If you thought there were no problems, but maybe now upon examining it, it's like, maybe there were some things going on that I can, try to change in myself and make better for the next partner that I have in my life. So
Yeah.
it's a really interesting thing. And yeah, I mean, it's a crazy world out there. Tinder, I feel, has brought about a whole new layer of things, which is that we can essentially like be so dismissive of people based on just one look or like a 3-part explanation description of themselves. And that's brought, it seems like a whole new thing to it.
Mhm.
And dating seems weird and confusing. And on top of that, you're older than you were when you got into a relationship. You're probably a different person in a lot of ways. And if you're the same, you've matured in a lot of ways. Like Hendrix was how old when you were single for the last time?
He was 2.
Yeah. So, I mean, you have like a full grown kid now, you've
Yeah.
changed. It's
Yeah.
changed. Just, it's really interesting. Yeah, it's crazy, but it's all a part of like life,
Yeah.
and figuring yourself out and figuring out what life is about for you. So,
Yeah, some things that I've really recognized is I'm not a fighter. Like if someone wants to go, I'm like, fine, go. And I don't know if that's good. I don't, they say you see these things that are like, don't, like if someone wants to go, go, type thing. And I was like, well, yeah, because why would you want to force someone to stay with you if they don't want to be with you? But I've kind of shifted my perspective a little bit on that because I think sometimes when you like fight for something, it shows that you care, as long obviously within reason,
yeah,
not stalker documentary
yeah.
style, but
I was gonna say when you said that, like I honestly have the opposite perspective of that. The most unhealthy relationships that I've been in are the ones where we've never fought. Like Naveen and I will argue, but it's not like we
an
want to
unhealthy.
we want to kill each other arguing. It's just, yeah, we argue because we both really fucking care about this thing. So, and one of the strengths that I see in our relationship is that we will argue, but we're also really good at like sorting the argument out.
Yeah.
And I think that that's really important in like having a good partnership is being able to have those disagreements because I don't want him to agree with me on everything. I don't want to agree with him on everything. We're different people. We come from different places, but it's about how you work through those things because we're going to face a lot worse shit than like, should we I don't want to go here. Like, you come across a lot worse stuff than that in life. So I think that it almost prepares you for those things to come. And yeah, I think it's important to argue,
Mhm.
honestly, every so often.
Yeah.
Even, I mean, I argue with my mom, but I still love her. The people who are closest to me, I've had some disagreements with, but it's more about the fact that we're willing to work it out and stick together and we don't hold that shit against each other.
Right.
It's so I find that to be kind of an important part of relationships in my life.
Yeah. Yep, I agree. I agree. When I was married to Hendrix's dad, we didn't fight either. We were the best of friends. We did everything together. And I remember after that thinking, oh, I think you're supposed to fight. I think still at the end, you should fight if you know that it's ending. You should fight for it if it means something to you because it shows the other person and maybe even yourself that you care more than maybe you realize, you know?
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I think that if Naveen and I did get into a fight and it was like neither of us cared, if the other person felt like walking away, then that's when it is time to call it quits.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I don't know. That's a new thing for me, which seems weird. It seems like it would be a normal thing for anybody in a relationship, but I very much I'm like, you want to go. Let's go.
Yeah.
Yes, no.
I mean, that's what's so weird is like in school, we don't learn anything about these things that are so important in life, like interpersonal relationships, how to
Yeah,
work with people, how to have a relationship with people, what's healthy, what's not healthy. These are things that we just have to find out as we go and maybe through therapy and, having
yeah.
experiences with people. So I don't think it's weird that you're just now finding it out. I think that it's not anything that comes with a textbook. None
Mhm.
of us know how any of this works. So it's just like stuff that we have to figure out on our own and understand how to deal with it and how to move on.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And yeah, like you said, learn what we need to learn from the past experiences and use that moving forward. I will say I totally understand why people use dating apps and I have nothing against people who do. I don't think that will ever be for me. It freaks me out too much. It feels way too um I don't want to say fake because I feel like that brings down the people who do because I do absolutely understand, but it doesn't feel natural, I guess, and maybe it's my age, but it freaks me out.
I totally agree. And I think that it's just from what I've seen, because I obviously have this stuff didn't exist when I was single the last time. But just from what I've seen, it's like I can't find out if I'm gonna like someone based on like three musical interests, if they like the Beatles and fucking Taylor Swift. Like, I
Yeah.
mean, that's not enough for me to connect with someone enough to even want to go out on a coffee date with them, you know?
On a potential serial killer, no. Or potential
I'm good
rapist.
off of
No,
that.
thank
Yeah.
you. Right.
Yeah, and I feel like you're kind of like that too. You have such specified interests that
Mhm.
it's like you I feel like it would be more comfortable to meet someone like somewhere where I'm doing something that I'm interested in, like at a show or just, in a natural situation than on the internet. It seems really weird.
Yeah, 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 yeah. The dating sites definitely freak me out. Um, See it happen again. I had something and it went bye-bye.
Also, I'm a member of this group because I like the drama, like reading the drama. It's called Are We Dating the Same Guy, Nashville?
Oh, I've heard of that. Oh my gosh.
Everyone's just posting their horror stories and how they're all dating the same guy. Their husbands are in there like on
Oh,
Tinder when they come and visit Nashville. And like, dude, it's a Tinder catastrophe, disaster. It's enough to like scare anyone out of doing that shit. I'm good.
seriously. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Oh, it's so disheartening. Like, are there like just normal loyal people out there anymore? I don't know.
Right.
I mean, I
Right.
know that there are,
Oh
but
yeah. I'm sure. They're just not the people who are posted in Are We Dating the Same Guy in Nashville? There's a reason.
yeah, if you're having to look on there to see if they're on there, that's already probably your answer.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm the worst person to come to for relationship advice for my friends because I'm like, dude, if you're coming to me for advice, I'm going to tell you to break up because if you can't talk about this with your significant other, that's already a fucking red flag to me.
Yeah, right.
That's the worst thing possible. Like
Yep.
I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but I've never ever like talked to anyone else about any problem that I have in my relationship because I can just tell Naveen if I have a problem with him and we'll work it out. And I think that I'm not gonna go, if I'm asking for advice, tell me to get a divorce. Like
What
that's
though? You're one of the lucky ones because not everybody gets that
yeah,
where you get to have that and not feel like you are can't go to them because it's not safe or because it's not comfortable, whatever. I think most people don't have that, which is so sad.
Yeah, that's really sad and really bizarre. Like there's nothing that I can't talk to Naveen about. There's nothing that I feel like he's gonna judge me on. Like dude, I'll say the weirdest shit to him ever, and he just forgets about it the next moment. So that is really important to me. So that is bizarre to think of not being in a relationship like that, where you feel like you can't confide everything in your partner, because that to me is like the glue that holds it all together, is that we can just be honest and be ourselves with each other. That's so important to me.
100%. Well, but if you start thinking about it, and obviously I don't have to right now, but if you start thinking about like couples that
Oh yeah.
then you'll probably start seeing that.
I believe me, I think about it. I mean, dude, when I was in college, I was going to major in philosophy or psychology. I'm very interested in psychology, so I see that stuff for sure. Yeah. And it's a silent judgment.
Yeah, well, it's just sad because it's like
Like,
they don't know that there's another possibility out there. And when
yeah,
you have what is healthy and what is, that glue, like you said, you won't settle for anything less, but they might not even know that that's a possibility.
exists. I know. Yeah, it's crazy. It is insane to think of. Yeah. Relationships, dude, they're so weird.
Are coexisting with other people is like one of the most difficult things, I swear.
I agree. Jesus. That's why I've refused to have roommates for a very long time, because you can be best of friends and then move in with each other and hate each other by the time you move out, just because you don't have the same like thoughts of who should clean the dishes. I've been pissed off. I don't want to clean your fucking dishes or take care of your dog or whatever. Like that's your shit.
Yeah.
So yeah, yeah.
So in that same vein, because you guys do so much together and you're doing music together, you're doing the podcast together, the Twitch channel together, all that stuff, you don't really have a whole lot of time away from each other.
No.
Are there times that you're like, okay, I need a breather, and so I'm gonna go and have coffee with a friend, or I'm gonna go for a walk or whatever, just so you guys can get a little bit of time away?
Well, we both do have our own, like I got my girls who I go and hang out with, and Naveen's, we all of our friends are mutual friends, but we do have that. Like we're both super cool about he can go do whatever the hell he wants. I don't care.
Oh,
And I can go do whatever the hell I want. So we definitely do that. Even on tour, it does seem like we're together constantly, which we kind of are, but on tour, keep in mind I'm a vocalist. I don't have very much to do during the day. So I'll like go have cocktail hour. My best friend is our merch person. So she and I will like go and have a cocktail hour and just get the fuck out and have girl time. And uh so yeah, I feel really lucky. And that's a huge part of what was important to me in having a partner, is just like finding someone who allows me to do that, because I've been in relationships where, for instance, this is kind of different, but like I'm a really like I'm kind of charismatic. If I'm at a party, like, and you're my significant other or a show, I don't need to hang out with you
yeah,
all night. Like I want to go
yeah.
talk to my people. And I've been in relationships where the other person would get super jealous of that. And Naveen is like so not jealous that sometimes I'm just like, be a little more, like, get a little more jealous. Jesus, He's so
You
not
see me
jealous.
in the last hour. Did you not worry that I was like dead under a ditch or something?
Exactly. Like that's so important to me, just because of like what I do. Like could never have been, I've been a vocalist far before I knew Naveen. So it never worked for me to be in a relationship with someone who was not comfortable with me, like going off and having my own friends and talking to my own people and doing my own thing. I was an only child until I was 9 years old. I was used to like making my own company and doing my own thing. And we both do that all the time. Like we have offices that are in separate wings, if you will, of our house. So a lot of the time he's hanging out in his office and I'm in mine, and we don't give a shit what the other person is doing. So having that time apart and just being able to exist independently is so important to me as a human, because if I did have someone who was breathing down my neck all the time, I would want them to get the hell away from me. So yeah, we do our own thing for sure.
Good, good, yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds pretty healthy.
Yeah, I think so. I think so.
Maybe I don't know what that looks like either, but I will tell you when I counsel couples, more times than not, I'm like, you guys should probably break.
Oh my God, that must be so weird. I think about that all the time, like couples therapy and how you can't tell them that, right? That's not the.
You probably shouldn't, but I have.
Have you really? You've
Yeah, well, when it gets to a point to where you've done so many sessions with them and you can tell neither one of them are going to listen to each other, if I say that, I become the enemy and then they start working together. So sometimes it ends up becoming like, no, we want to fight for this. And I'm like, okay, well then fight for it and get mad at me all you want, but I'm not going to keep doing this whole thing.
we call that 3D chess. So you make them into a team by hating you. That's 3D chess. That's seeing the situation from above and, being able to work it. I like that. Yeah, exactly. That's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, and then other times they're like, yeah, this isn't working. And I'm like, okay, well, at least now you know. But it's almost, like when you're trying to decide on something and you flip a coin and you're disappointed in the outcome and you're like, oh, okay, clearly I wanted the other thing. It's kind of the same concept of, okay, well, I'm gonna make you choose right now, or I'm gonna tell you, and then okay, yep, this is over, or oh no, we're gonna fight you now. All right.
Do you think that there's a time in a relationship where it's kind of a red flag that it's too early for them to be entering therapy? Like it's a red flag that they're going to therapy already and seeking that out?
I mean, I think it depends on their own baggage that they're coming in with, because I think sometimes when you have traumas from past relationships and you're trying to figure out how to be in a healthy relationship and maybe you don't know how to, and they're wanting to fight for it,
Yeah.
then not, it's all very situational. So not
Yeah.
necessarily.
That's fascinating. That must be such a cool job.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm glad I'm not in the same room with them. And you know how like overly nice I am. So for me to get to that point, they've pushed some buttons.
Oh my God.
Goodness. Oh, heavens. I'm trying to think. I know we've already been chatting for a while. I'm trying to think if there's any other specific thing that I wanted to chat with you about. I definitely wanted to talk about the tour because that was such a cool tour for you guys to do.
That was
And of course, the upcoming EP, but we chatted about those things. Yeah. I can't think of anything else right now.
Yeah. There we go, dude. Well, that was amazing. Thank you for having me on again. Like I said,
Yes.
I love hanging out with you. It's fun. We always talk about some crazy, interesting shit that really has nothing to do with music. And that's what I love. I live for stuff
Same.
like that. So anytime that you want to do this, please ask me because it's so much fun.
You can always tell the people that I'm friends with when I'm doing interviews because I'll have like the same person on multiple times.
Yeah.
Like
Regulars.
right, the regulars. Yeah. I've actually thought about doing some kind of a game and I can't 100% wrap my head around what I want it to look like to where it will be smooth and comfortable. But like some of the people that I've become friends with throughout the years, like do like a, obviously like a Brady Bunch of Zoom
Oh, that would be
pictures or
so
videos.
cool. Like
But yeah,
around.
playing some kind of game. Yeah, but I have a game called Mixtape that has like funny scenarios and you're supposed to say what song you would play in that scenario.
Oh, that's cool.
But I'm not sure how it would translate. So I'm still trying to figure that out, but I want to do something fun like that.
That would be awesome. You'll think of something. That
Yeah.
sounds cool to me. I think it might translate well, but whatever, something will come to you and you'll be like, that's it.
I think it'd be fun. Well, and I have to figure out the personalities too, because um like Mike Spritzer who just put Devil Driver because he's doing his own project Verona on Venus, which is so good. So good. If you haven't checked it out, so good. He does a cover of Acid Bath's oh my gosh, what is the name of that song? The Baby Dolls song. I totally just spaced the name. But anyways,
I don't know. I don't know the titles of their songs. I just started getting into Acid Bath like last year.
Oh my
They're
gosh, they're
so
so good.
good.
They're
So
so good.
good.
His vocals are some of the most haunting and best vocals out there. Oh,
I know. I know. Shout out Sammy, dude. That guy's a living legend. Sammy from Goat Whore. He was in Acid Bath.
and now?
No, he's in Goat Whore now. He was in Acid Bath, yeah.
Oh, I was gonna say Acid Bath. I didn't think they'd been together for a really long time. I know
No,
Dax does solo stuff now. Oh, Dax solo.
yeah, I think they broke up. The vocalist died, right? Is that correct?
No, he's
I'm
still
wrong.
alive. Maybe you're a Nothing Face,
Guitar
maybe?
player? No, like someone in Acid Bath did die. Hold on.
Yeah.
Acid Bath
We need
death.
answers. Come on, Google.
Need answers. Yeah, the guitar. Okay, the bassist. Uh, his name was Audie. He and his parents were killed by a drunk driver.
Oh my gosh, it's terrible.
Yeah, so that's why Acid Bath ended. And
Yeah.
but yeah, I started listening to Acid Bath like last year and I went to their Spotify. They have like 200,000 monthly listeners on Spotify and they haven't put anything out since the 90s. That's how you know a band is a
Legendary.
legendary. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely legendary.
Yeah, well, yeah, so Mike Schweitzer covers the song that I can't freaking think of the name of, but he does an incredible cover of it. But he's one I thought about having on too, and he's so laid back and super fun, but he's like super laid back. And so I'm like, I'd have to have like the talkative ones and the laid back ones, but like try to figure out how to get the laid back ones to talk. And then I have like Kyle Shutt's a good friend of mine, but he's a talker. And so I'm like, I would like it would be like a group therapy session trying to designate a game. So that's where my mind goes. Like I'm
So,
like, how would I be able to get everybody to participate evenly and not awkwardly?
oh, dude, yeah. How do I get these people to talk together? That is one of the most interesting parts of doing something like this, having a podcast, is when you get someone on, because sometimes Naveen and I don't really know, like we'll have people on that we don't totally know, and some of them are very not talkative. And I'm super talkative. So it's like I'm trying to like get stuff out of them, and it's so hard. It's such a challenge to like get them to talk. And you're like, fuck, okay, how am I
Can't
gonna
ask yes or no questions. You have to
Yeah.
ask really open-ended questions. I
That's true.
watch people's interviews before I interview them to see what kind of personality it is. So that way I know what kind of questions I need to ask. Or if I'm going to be able to be like, okay, I only need like a general, because I don't like actually write down specific questions. I'll just have like a general idea of what I want to talk about. Okay, I'll have like 5 topics because this person's really talkative, or I have 10 topics and I have to try to remember them all because they're going to give me short answers and it's going to be like pulling teeth.
Yeah, dude, it's like some of them end up being more like the interviews that we were talking about earlier, just out of like trying to get answers out of this, trying to shake answers out of them. So it ends up more that way, or they like expect it. They've never been on a podcast before where it's kind of like that you just talk about all kinds of random shit. So it's like, say something. But
Like, why are you here?
I know. So that can be a challenge sometimes, but
Yeah. So once I wrap my head around it, I'll let you know and we'll try
yeah,
to plan a fun time.
let's do it. You know, I'm down.
Cool. You're
Hell
so
yeah.
awesome. Thank you so much.
Awesome.
It's been fun chatting with you.
Dude, it's always awesome, Nika. Thank you so much for having me and have a good night, you guys. Good to see you, Hendrix. I can see your arm back there in the background.
Just staying at a plain and quiet so I wouldn't be messing up her.
Yeah, every time he would pop, we were doing funny things before you came on. Every time he would pop on, it would make my face disappear. And so we were like doing like these weird little things where he was behind me and his little head would pop up and all of a sudden show up and we were cracking up.
Also, totally did not mean to do all this on purpose. I just saw this and I was like, oh, this is a good shirt. And then I threw this on and I was like, oh yeah.
He's like, oh my gosh, this is a happy coincidence.
I love that. I love that shirt, dude. That's awesome. Hell yeah.
I actually like it a lot more than the 2024 one. I
Yeah.
think it looks a
Dude,
lot
I
more interesting.
do.
It's a lot more intricate and it just is a lot more my colors. But
You know what's
the other one's still great.
well, dude, now that you're talking about that 2024 one, I was so convinced that shirt would not sell because I do not like not that I don't like it, but I wouldn't wear it. I'd wear the one that you have on because I'm a new metal girl, you know? I like baggy shirts and new metal designs. But that 2024 shirt sold so well that I was like flabbergasted. But so I guess people liked it, just not my favorite. But you never know with t-shirts, dude. It's a crapshoot.
It really
Yeah.
is. That's what's nice about having multiple ones to be able to choose from.
I totally agree. But yeah, all right, you guys have a great night. Good to
You
see
too.
both of you.
You
I'll see
too.
you soon. Much love.
Talk to you later.
Yeah.
Bye.